Hey groups, it is so good to see you again. This is our last week of content before our Christmas break, so I've just been loving this series, and as we continue in this series on King, God, and Sacrifice, looking at the journey of the wise men and bringing in the gifts that the wise men brought in, we looked this week at frankincense and what this symbolized as the wise men brought this gift to Jesus. We know that this signified that Jesus was God. He was not just a man. He was not just a baby who was born here on earth, but he was God. And over the course of the group's questions, we'll digest that a little bit more and see why that matters and pull in other scripture. So I'm excited for you guys to have some conversations about that today. Again, just wanted to remind you that the next 2 weeks after this is off for Christmas, but we're excited to jump back in at the first of the year with our new series, looking throughout the whole Bible. Super excited for that. You're not going to want to miss that. But again, we're off for the next 2 weeks after this. But kids, if you're in the room, your leaders have kids' questions that they will walk you through. Otherwise, adults, stay tuned and we'll start going through your group's content. All right, last week we looked at Jesus as King, and we looked at the things that sometimes reign over our lives and take away from us looking to Jesus as King. The first question is this, and it's looking back at the challenge from last week. What things did you get rid of in your life from last week that may have reigned over your life? Question number 2, I want you guys to start out by reading Exodus 30, 34 through 38, and then answer these questions. What was frankincense used for, right? We read about that. What did God ask Moses to do with it? And remember, one of the gifts that the wise men brought was frankincense to Jesus. Why would they have brought that? And for question number 3, I want to take a step out of the text for a minute and ask yourselves this question. In what ways have you wrestled with Jesus being fully God and being fully man? Are there answers that you have struggled with or wrestled with or haven't been able to understand? Bring those up in the group. Wrestle with some of these as a group for a minute. Question number 4. And for this question, I want you to start out by reading John 1, 1 through 5, and talk about these questions. When you hear the word, what does that mean? And who is this word that they're referring to? And the second question is this. What do you think John, the author, wants his audience to hear as he's writing these 5 verses? I'm going to have you skip ahead a few verses to John 1, verses 14, and I'll actually quick read that for you a minute now. It says this, "The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and full of truth." What does this verse tell you about the character of God and the character of Jesus? For question number 6, I want you to read Hebrews 4, 14 to 16. And we're picking verses from all over that speak on the character of God. So really check all of these out. But check out Hebrews 4, 14 to 16 and talk about what sticks out to you about who Jesus is. And for this last question, it's really the challenge for this week. Think about what questions are you still left with about Jesus being God? Is there anything that's still out there you're like, I don't fully understand this. I don't know what this means. I don't know how this applies to my life. Wrestle with those as a group. Have those conversations. And I think what's beautiful about it is we may not have all the answers, and understanding that there may be questions that we have that may be left unanswered. That's honestly one of the most beautiful things about in my life that I think as I read the Bible is that we're not going to understand it all. And I love the mystery of who God is, and I love wrestling with it, but I love sitting in it and knowing that, yeah, I'm probably not going to understand this, but I can't wait till the day that I do when I get into heaven. And I feel like my eyes are going to be open to all of these things that we don't fully understand. So be okay with the uncomfortable of that piece. And if you guys have time and want to jump into the digging deeper section, we look at a story in the very beginning of John, shortly after those verses that we read earlier about John the Baptist, because he's one of the very first to point to Jesus as he's about to start his ministry as the Son of God. So if you've got some time, take a look at that. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great Christmas. Have some good times with friends and family, and celebrate that Jesus was born here on earth as a man. And just live in that. Remember to understand and remember the gift that we have in that. I hope you guys all have a great week, and we will see you in the new year.